Hey folks, got another Bible to show you guys. I got this Bible on a trade with a brother, and I'm so thrilled to have it. This is the Thinline Quentel NASB from Schuyler in the antique marble brown goatskin. And this is an awesome, incredibly awesome Bible. Now I've already reviewed the THINTEL, the black THINTEL. And it's very special to me. I got it as a trade as well with a good friend of mine, and I got this antique marble brown one. It had just a couple of marks in it, but it was just an awesome blessing to get. It comes in this box, this open and closed box. There, your standard Schuyler box. You have the titling on the identification on one end. Schuyler Bibles on the other end with your Jerusalem cross on the top, and it's just blank. The rest of it's just awesome black cover. So it comes with these 3 gold long Beresford ribbons. Love it. Now this is a pretty cool little thing I want to show you guys about this Bible. I took it to church, of course, the first day that, or the first Sunday I had it, and you know, we had at church we had an awesome baptism and some incredible worship, and I am a extremely emotional worshiper. I was just boo-hooing and just praising the Lord, and just an incredible blessing with such an amazing service, watching God do so many amazing things and worshiping. And I wiped the tears from my eyes and opened my Bible, and I created a memory of sorts. You see that gilt, that art gilding has some fade to it right there, and that's where my thumb went to open the Bible, and it was, I mean, it was just like that. I went to open the Bible, and my wet, tear-stained thumb created that. I'm calling it a beauty mark. So it's an interesting little story behind, you know, some of these are marks that I would never do without. So that's a marking on that gilt that always reminds me of God's amazing, you know, just the amazing grace He's given me, and allowing me to just enjoy Him. And that reminds me of that morning of worship and the baptism, and just communion with other believers and all that stuff. So anyway, just want to throw that in there. It's a little interesting story about this Bible. This antique brown goatskin is awesome. I love this grain of this goatskin. It is so nice. As I showed in the black THINTEL, this grain is just deep and really unique. And another Schuyler I have. This original Schuyler ESV is the Kantara goatskin. It's not as deep as that. Now this is probably one of my favorite Bibles. Just that Kantara goatskin is just so unique. I love unique stuff, and that is unique. The THINTEL is a little more consistent grain, but it's very deep, and I love it. The same goes for the antique brown. You have a lot of the cool inconsistencies in the grain, but it's still a really deep grain. You have the raised ribs on the spine, the beautiful gold stamping with the raised ribs, and you have your perimeter stitching with the imprinted Jerusalem cross on the cover. It's just an awesome cover. So enough about the cover. You have your white head and tail bands, the beautiful gilding done. The interior is like a darker brown. It's not that antique brown. It's like a chocolate brown. And you can always tell by that font that these are bound by Youngblood, that goatskin leather cover. You'll find that same font imprinting on Cambridge, Crossway, anything done by Youngblood, they use the same font. So it's a really small fold over. The yap's not super small, but it's a small fold over. You have your gold gilt line there, your edge lining here with your end sheet. Now I'm not really sure why the end sheet is as short as it is. This is a little bit shorter. It should really kind of come to that hinge, but it doesn't. But I'm not really mad about that. You have your title page, or you have a couple of sheets of white paper in the front. Your title page, and here's your publication page. You can see it's printed and bound by Youngblood, or printed by Youngblood. It's also bound by Youngblood in the Netherlands. This is the 95 text. Your typesetting is designed by 2K Denmark, and you can see all the publication information there. If you want to pause it, you're more than welcome to do that. So in this Bible, as you can, I'm sure that you have seen the other reviews. Hold on, let me. You have your forward there before the text, and then you get to your format explanation, which is always good to read those. A lot of people skip through them just to get straight to the text, but they're good to read. So it's a double column layout, 11-point font, paragraph format. Really looking forward to the day when we get an NASB single column verse by verse from Schuyler, or a double column verse by verse from Schuyler. But this is a paragraph format, double column. You have your scriptural notes at the end of the paragraphs, or of the columns, and all of your references are at the bottom. And I like this layout because it's a little bit better for reading. For me, the only similar layout that I would like is kind of what you find in the large print personal size, where you have the end of paragraph references. I would love to see that as well, but I love how Schuyler does it at the bottom. It's nice if you want references, they're all down here. If you don't use references, they're not cluttering the text. It's easier for reading, all those cool things. So you can see the beautiful gilding on this edition. Pardon my beauty mark there on that art gilding, but it's beautifully gilded. Take into account that if you touch it with wet hands, tear-soaked hands, you're going to do that to it. But apart from that, the gold gilding is exceptional. The art gilding is exceptional. I have not seen any bleed through, any issues with that. It's just really nicely done. So I'm a huge THINTEL fan. Really, it's probably one of my favorite Bibles, especially in the NASB. You have your reader from Allen and the THINTEL. They really push each other to be better. This is a 28 GSM paper. It has a really nice opacity. You can still see some ghosting, but it is line matched. That helps with the readability. We get to the back. This is a black letter text, and I'll show you one of the Gospels. Here's a Gospel. John 11, Jesus is obviously speaking here. It's a black letter text. You get to the back of the edition, and you have a concordance. I'm sorry. You have notes. I'm sorry. In the THINTELs, you do not have a concordance. The typical Quentel, you do have a concordance, but in the THINTEL, you do not. You do have a lot of line paper, and it's nice line paper, dark lines, college ruled. It's nice to have. Then you have your maps. Your Bible maps are nicely done. They're on cardstock, but not glossy. So it's just really has a much better feel, better for if you were to write on them, which a lot of people do. They make their notes on maps, draw arrows and lines where things go, where things to remember. Glossy cardstock is the worst for that. So anyway, so we get through our maps. You have some white cardstock and your the back liner. This liner has a nice feel to it as well, and the different shades of brown really complement each other. So the darker chocolate brown with the antique brown. The antique brown's has like more of a light brown with the tan mixed in. It has some inconsistencies in the color, which make it that antique look. You can see some of the darker waves. In this light, it's hard to see, but you can definitely see some of the inconsistencies in color. It gives a really nice look. This Bible right here has turned into one of my favorite Bibles, not just because it's a THINTEL, but also because of that beauty mark on the art gilding, which is just a reminder for me of God's goodness. So anyway, that's the antique brown goatskin THINTEL, and I love it, love it, love it, love it. So thankful to have it. And if you have any questions or comments, anything else you want to see reviewed, or anything you're interested in, I love doing comparisons, but you got to kind of give me a prompt. What do you want to see compared? And I'll be happy to do some comparison videos for you. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and God bless.